Alright, and here we go. The map destination. We have NonY as Protoss up at 12 o'clock. We have Idra as Terran down at 6. And I tell you, Chill, I am wiggling and jiggling right now. I am so excited to see how this game goes. What does NonY have planned for Idra? And can Idra hold it off and get into the macro place that he loves?
Yeah, if you think you like StarCraft and you think you are StarCraft's biggest fan, you are not, because I've met him. He is Artosis Media, and I can only imagine he's bouncing around like a little 4-year-old kid watching these games.
And I tell you, man, it's not just the coffee I'm drinking. It is 5 a.m. over here in South Korea, but there is no place I would rather be than watching this game right now. And look at this, NonY sending a probe up to his ramp, just making them pile in there. So we are not going to see any early proxy gate from NonY, and that's probably pretty smart. You know, as you said, I just played this map hundreds and hundreds of times, and I'm sure he is ready for any sort of proxies that NonY might have had planned.
Yeah, that's true. I can see Idra, you know, you can kind of get the feeling he's mad because his APM was spamming at 750, kind of slowing down to 650 now, but I know that happens to me when I'm getting a little angry. I play the next game, you know, my APM just skyrockets. So, you know, maybe I'm trying to inject drama, but I get the feeling he's not the happiest of campers right now.
I guarantee you he's not the happiest of campers. Let's take a look at this. First off, game 1, he wins. Look at this. He comes in from an angle, steals the gas, and now Idra is even angrier than he was a moment ago. But, you know, as we were saying, after game 1, which he won in a convincing fashion, you know, he was all chatting with NonY and stuff like that. And then game 2, you know, he loses, no GG. We already know that he goes on tilt instantly after losing. He has not typed one word this game. He has his full concentration on it. He is angry that NonY has insulted him so from taking a game from the mighty Idra. And with NonY taking that gas, I got to tell you, that was a really great move, especially after winning that first game. Idra has to have a red face right now, man. Red ears, you know, just he could cook an egg on his head.
Right, and when you're playing someone better than you, that's the way you beat them. If you can't just, you know, you can't beat them with mechanics, then you beat them otherwise. And this is an example of what we're showing. NonY, you know, he beat Idra arguably straight up. It was kind of an incredible moment with the Psystorms, but now coming in, you know Idra's mad, you know this is making him angry, and you know that's going to affect his play. So that's how you take down a player who's better than you. Now look at this probe running through the SCVs, screwing them up. Oh man, it's just great to watch. I'm smiling ear to ear.
Seriously, man, I got a banana grin on. It is awesome to see that. NonY using every little advantage he can possibly get. He's even stolen 8 gas from Idra's simulator there. And look at that, he has to run away from the assimilator because if he kills it, that probe can make the assimilator quicker than an SCV can make the refinery. So Idra has to chase it away with Marines before he ends up killing it.
Yeah, what a cute little dynamic of the game here that Idra realizes that NonY's just going to remake it so he doesn't actually kill it. Putting down a command center now, feeling safe from any sort of harassment. This SCV is still in NonY's main, so Idra knows exactly what's happening. We've got range about 25% done, and the first Dragoon out, going to take care of the SCV. I believe NonY knows that this command center is done, but there's not too much he can do with the bunker up. He can get in once he has Dragoon range. He can get in there because ranged Dragoons outrange a bunker. But you know, 7, 8 invincible SCVs repairing it. That's probably not going to be able to be taken out. So I think Idra is going to get a pretty safe expansion here.
Yeah, I think so. You know, even with ranged Dragoons, you can't fit too many of them hitting the bunker just because those bridges are so skinny. So, you know, he can try some sort of run-by perhaps, but I'm more interested to see what tech NonY wants to do right now. I think he may just expand. You know, he already had that probe down in the natural, sending it back now. So yeah, it looks like he is going to make the Nexus as opposed to taking up to Reaver or Dark Templar, which is probably pretty smart because that's normally what you see after an offensive gas. So, you know, Idra might be expecting that and might get some extra turrets up pretty quickly to counteract it.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think the smarter move here is just take your natural and take a really quick third and go into a macro game because as you expected, you already did something a little cheesy, so Idra is probably expecting some sort of quick follow-up like that. Here we see range is just about finished for the Dragoons. They can't find the sweet spot, getting just chewed up. Move those Dragoons, NonY. Get out of there. Alright, there they go. But as we see here, this SCV repairing, he's going to just put as many SCVs as he needs to repair that bunker to keep him out of there.
And I'd like to point out that depot to the left of that bunker, very smart depot. He's basically just lessening the amount of room a Dragoon would have to run around there. You know, just using buildings. We see on the right-hand side he has a barracks doing the same thing. Any Dragoons that do try to run into his natural are going to have to go close to the bunker and take additional damage. So Idra doing every little thing in his power. You know, the beauty of StarCraft, there are so many tiny, tiny things that change the game so significantly.
And I'd like to point out NonY is taking his gas before the Nexus is done at the natural, and Idra is coming down to scout that. So that says to me there's going to be some sort of very quick tech follow-up. There's the Stargate, and Idra didn't see that, but I think he's going to be thinking something's weird from seeing that second assimilator. Normally you take a third base, and you can even run 3 Protoss bases without having your second gas. So if Idra saw that and had time to focus on that, he should know something isn't right.
Yeah, and I really like this. If we look behind NonY's main Nexus, he has 2 Stargates going up, which means to me, you know what, look at this. He's already getting in the Cybernetics core, +1 attack, 2 flying units. So definitely a very fast carrier rush, and this is the smartest strategy NonY could have done on this map. I really have to hand it to him, what great preparation that he has put in. You know, Idra, this is something he is not going to have practice against a lot. This is very foreigner style. We have not seen Koreans do really quick 2 Stargate carrier rushes like this for some time, you know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. So this is not a strategy that Idra is going to be freshly prepared for in his mind. Seriously, this is great match preparation from NonY, and this is definitely a build order that could catch Idra off guard enough to take a win.
Right, and we see the Academy is just going down now, so we've got to wait for the Academy to finish and then scan, and that's the only way he's going to be able to find out about it. So he might be able to see it before the first carriers are out, but I believe White Raw took a game off Idra in the original TSL with a similar strategy, so this could be colors of that happening once again.
Yeah, man, he is weak against stuff like this. You know, well, really any Terran is. You get offensive gassed early, and you overcompensate with siege tanks. We see he's making a lot of siege tanks, but already making a few Goliaths as well. You know, just doing that as a safety precaution against any shuttles that may come in. But that's really good for him. He's getting his scanners up, and so I think he's going to be able to figure this out in time to stop it, or at least prepare enough for it that it doesn't give NonY a free win. But at the same time, this is really well timed by NonY. I just wish that he had hidden those Stargates.
Yeah, I got to agree, because the first scan is probably gonna be able to see that, the first scan from Idra, and the only way there's a scan, it goes right on top of the Stargates, literally right over top of him. So now he knows. And let me take a look in those factories. A couple Goliaths coming out now. He's going to be getting the Goliath range upgrade right now. That takes about an hour to finish, so that should be done when there's about 4 carriers out.
You know, and 4 carriers, that is the magic number for Protoss versus Terran. You know, 1, 2, and 3 carriers, really easy to deal with, but for some reason when you get that 4th, suddenly that is the magic number. They start doing a lot more damage. They become really, really dangerous. And now I'm just going to have to balance, you know, purchasing factories, purchasing upgrades, and purchasing Goliaths versus tanks and other units. Because if he has too heavy a Goliath balance in there, then suddenly the Dragoons become super, super powerful. Dragoons eat Goliaths more than anything else in the game aside from sunken colonies. So we're going to have to see Idra going up for a timing here, and this timing may actually be good. You know, he has a few Goliaths already due to not making turrets, and bringing some SCVs along with him too. So actually, I'm thinking that Idra's going to get a perfect bust timing here, be able to kill that natural before the carriers get up in significant numbers.
Yeah, no interceptors. There's a siege, a lot of damage going there. There's no speed on those Zealots. Zealots trying to run in, no interceptors on the carriers. There comes out 4 now, trying to take out, looks like he's just trying to take out the Goliaths. That's the key. Carrier taking a lot of damage. Once the Goliaths are out, the carriers can clean up, and looks like he's going to do it pretty easily, but getting reinforced with more Goliaths. This is actually turning very dangerous very quickly. I thought NonY would be okay because he didn't commit to taking a third base, but looks like he's getting eaten up. First carrier, could it go down? It goes down. That is huge.
My God.
This is trouble.
Yeah, this is huge trouble, and Idra actually just hit that timing right on the head. It's hard to even imagine how close that timing was, because if he had you know, full interceptors on both carriers during that battle, he would have been able to pick off those Goliaths really quick, pick off some tanks, and save a few units as well. So really, Idra just hit that timing perfectly, and now he is really far ahead. I mean, he has enough siege tanks, he doesn't have to make any more. NonY, he has gone up to 4 gateways, making mostly zealots at this point. He needs them to try to run in and take out those siege tanks. But, you know, he's lost a carrier, and that is the biggest story of what has happened here. He's up to 3, and as I was saying, 4 is the magic number.
Yeah, the Nexus dead. +2 about to finish on the carriers, but there's so few it's not going to make that much of a difference. I feel like if NonY had just pulled back, waited for it, you know, gave up his bridge, which isn't that much of a big deal if you have the carriers. I feel like it would have worked out more in his favor, but at this point, he's probably never going to get control of his bridges again.
Yeah, those bridges are gone. Is Idra even going to move across them? It looks like he probably is, but he has made some turrets out there, so a containment strategy might be in order as well. But no, Idra moving up, going to take out a bunch of pylons, and actually even something like that is going to hurt NonY right now. He has very little income, only from his main base, and, you know, it's really expensive to make interceptors, especially against Goliaths always picking them off. So having to replace those pylons, very, very painful for NonY. And being down to 1 base, Idra has taken the bottom right. You know, Idra has 5 facts now. He's still upgrading from his armory. Things are looking very grim for NonY indeed.
I'm surprised as broke NonY is, he's going for +3 on the interceptors. I mean, there's only 3 carriers. Oh, a lot of damage being dealt from that first volley from the Goliaths, and I mean, there's not even enough zealots to really run in here. Once these all get cleaned up, the Goliaths are going to have a field day with those carriers. I mean, good effort from NonY here, but it's just not enough. The few carriers are not invincible anymore in StarCraft with upgrades. Looks like he's actually pushing for. I'm surprised he's getting this much done against +1 Goliaths. But here they go, coming in, just targeting the carriers. And this is not what you want to have, carriers against Goliaths. That's not a good matchup.
Yeah, you know, in this scenario, making carriers is not a good talent to have. It looks like Idra's going to be able to clean this up pretty easily. He's got plenty of Goliaths pumping out now. He's got the 3 geysers going on, taking on a 4th base at 3 o'clock. And NonY, you know, he's not even making ground units at this point. So Idra could actually just walk up that ramp. You know, he can do pretty much anything here as long as he just micros his Goliaths. And I think NonY knows that. Look at that, losing another carrier and down to 3. So, pretty bad spot for NonY here.
Yeah, it's this is colors of first game, right? Where he's just practicing his carrier micro at this point. No chance NonY can do anything. He's got 80 supply. I don't even know how he has that high supply, but Idra now moving onto NonY's side of the base, expanding to 3 o'clock. But yeah, this game is all but over.
Indeed it is, and siege tanks moving up the right-hand side of the map, maybe to cover that ramp area so that the Goliaths can walk up and do some damage. A few zealots coming out though. He may be able to run down here and, well, no, there's a lot of turrets there as well. I don't know, man. It looks to me like NonY does not have any outs here whatsoever. I think that we're going to see a GG momentarily.
Yeah, we'd have to see him somehow get into the main, kill all the Goliaths, and take out the armory. That's like the only way it's fathomable that NonY could win. Looks like he's just going to finish what he started, mine out his main, and then probably tap out.
Yeah, and you know, he's lost a couple carriers already, and he has 2 more making, so it's too bad. You know, if he had kept all those carriers together, you're having like 6 carriers with +3 attack. That is pretty deadly against anything, but here we go. This is going to be the final attack. Zealots running down, the Goliaths just slaughtering, the turrets really helping out, and carriers versus turrets. Normally carriers win, but in this case, absolutely not. It looks like we're going to be seeing a GG any moment.
NonY trying to take his natural. I don't think that's going to get up. I'm not sure. There we go. There's the GG.
Not sure at all. No, it didn't. All right.
Yeah, shockingly. But I really like that game, especially from Idra. I'm very impressed he found that timing because, as you said, it was on a razor's edge. If he missed it, you know, my feeling when he moved out was that's too early, but he hit it just perfectly. Had just enough units to push in, and that really ended the game right there.
Indeed it did. You know, really a much closer game than I was expecting when, you know, first I thought, okay, Idra might not scan this in time, and then NonY will win. And then he scanned it, hit that timing. As you said, it looked like it was too early, but he just barely held it because there were not enough interceptors in those carries. If those had been full, I think the whole game would have been different, and we would still be watching it right now.
Yeah, but as it is, we're moving past, you know, we moved from NonY's side of the maps, and now we're moving on to Idra's side of the map. We're going to Game 4 with Idra at a 2-1 advantage on Neo Tornado.
Yeah, you know, Tornado, you look at it, and the first thing you think if you're old is Bladestorm, but this map, it is not Bladestorm. It is a fine map indeed for Terran. You know, we haven't seen a whole lot of games there quite yet, as you see from the stats. But, you know, an interesting map, and I feel like the reason this is really good for Idra, as we said earlier in the cast, is that he has been practicing this map. He is on a Korean pro team, and this is a map that they have to practice quite a bit.
Right, and conversely on Icy Cup, this really, you know, it's hard to say which maps become popular in the scene, and Neo Tornado is definitely one that has not become popular. We've seen a lot of Fighting Spirit, I mean, Destination for sure, Heartbreak Ridge, but Neo Tornado, I think, personally, I played it once or twice, so Idra is probably going to have tons of games on here, and conversely, NonY may have very few games. And although that doesn't matter that much, it does make you feel a little uncomfortable if you get into a situation on a map that you've never experienced.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is a map, you know, I think most of NonY's practice recently has been on Icy Cup, and Icy Cup is really a place, if you're practicing as a foreigner, you're playing Courage players, and those are guys that are not pro gamers yet in Korea. They are amateurs practicing to be pro gamers, and they're playing only Courage maps. Now, this is not a Courage map, so I think that NonY is definitely going to have to cheese here, because he's probably had very few games there.
Yeah, and that's not a situation you really want to be in. I don't think you want to be cheesing to stay in. If NonY was up 2-1, then and it's set 4, that's a perfectly viable thing to do. You know, you have one game to give. Of course, you want to try cheese at some point to try to mix it up, and if it works, hey, you win. But cheesing when you're down a game, not the best situation to be in. So this is really looking difficult for NonY. He's on unfamiliar territory, down a game, and we're suggesting he cheeses. So, you know, really not looking that good. But look at game 2. I mean, it was looking terrible for NonY. If I was a betting man, I would have bet my life on that. And he turned it around. So, you know, at StarCraft, anything can happen.
Well, Chill, if you want to go ahead and join the game, we can get this going. You know, I'm glad you didn't bet your life on that game, because you would be dead and I would be casting this alone. Something very hard to do. Thank you, Chill, for casting this with me. One of my favorite commentators in the whole world.
You're welcome. I do it just for you, Artosis, personally.
Oh, thank you. All right, well, I think that we have analyzed just as much about it as we can. Let's get this started. I need to see Game 4.